Off with the first look at the weather. Good morning, Elita.
It's no surprise, Brandon and Sam, that we've got this very humid air mass overhead. We did have quite a bit of showers and thunderstorms widespread across the area yesterday. So there is some rain-cooled conditions out there as you step outside. But it is a mostly dry sky. 13 alert radar showing signs of a few widely scattered showers. The flood risk today has shifted a little bit further to the east from where it was yesterday for Father's Day. So from Houston eastward, the ingredients looking a little bit more favorable for some localized heavy rain. The potential for some street flooding isn't going to be widespread, but it will be isolated in nature. The boundary that has brought us some showers and thunderstorms as well up to the north, but there's also been a boundary down along the coastline creating quite a bit of showers and thunderstorms. We're seeing those thunderstorms down toward Corpus Christi, and then you can kind of make out a little bit of a boundary here offshore. Some of those rain showers are getting fed further inland. This morning we've got a few showers, very light in nature north and east of the Houston area, but a fairly good extensive amount of clouds. It's leading to some mist, maybe even some sprinkles, and you can see a few of those rain showers kind of rotating toward the east. Some heavier downpours between Kuntz and Woodville. Also tracking this little line here of showers. No thunderstorms embedded with this, but there are certainly some brief heavy downpours between LaGrange and Giddings. And overall, the weather pattern to start off the new work week is going to remain fairly active. Not as widespread, but notice what happens around noontime. We'll get a few showers that'll blossom late this morning, let's say 10, 11 o'clock along the coastline. Turns heavier as it pushes inland, and then it kind of breaks apart. Now, some of the model data is showing this line holding together. So I'm going to keep that rain chance at about 60%, especially between the hours of 2 to 4 p.m. Again, that's going to be along Interstate 10, but closer to the coastline, that 60% chance will be closer toward 10, 11 a.m. And then as those showers and thunderstorms spread further to the north, we could see it remaining intact or even breaking up. So 13 alert radar is going to be very important to track, especially if you have outdoor plans. That rain chance in the morning will begin pretty much at 20% and then slowly start to build for inland areas around 60% between 2 to 5 p.m. So I'll have more details on the work ahead, any sort of severe weather threat for today, and of course that flood risk coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, Elita.
Now to talk to Elita, boy, it was actually just a wet week last week.
It was a wet week last week. It was actually a wet one over the weekend. It didn't rain all day long. In fact, for those of you that may have gotten some of your outdoor plans taken care of during the early morning hours, early part of the day on Father's Day, you were fine. It was those plans late in the afternoon into the evening, unfortunately, that had to be pulled indoors. You saw the big explosion of thunderstorms across our part of the state. Also some very heavy rain out toward West Texas that eventually started to fizzle out during the latter part of the day. Now at this hour, things are fairly quiet, but you can see this kind of line of moisture here that's centered over East Texas and down towards South Texas. Underneath those storms, we've got some brief heavy rain. Also a couple of severe thunderstorms or marine warnings there for the potential for some strong gusts. Across our part of the state, not looking too bad. We've got some hit and miss type rain showers. I'm going to keep about a 20% chance that you'll get some rain this morning, but that chance for rain does go up, especially for our coastal communities late this morning into the early part of the afternoon. And then a lot of those showers and storms will come to an end as the sun starts to go down. Tuesday, Wednesday, even into Thursday on Juneteenth, those rain shower chances slowly start to fade back down to 30%, which is pretty normal for this time of year. Heading closer toward the weekend with a nice drop in those rain chances. We definitely deserve a break in some of those storm chances. We've got you back down to 20%. Now, the flood risk for today is shifted a little bit further to the east. Doesn't incorporate all of us here in southeast Texas, but for those of you in Houston down toward Galveston, Chambers County, Liberty, portions of Montgomery County, the Piney Woods area, all under a level 1 out of 4. So there's still going to be some potential ponding or maybe even some street flooding with some of these heavier downpours, heavier thunderstorms. And you can see our raincast map is showing some areas highlighted for 2, even over 3 inches of rain with some of those heavier bands. Otherwise, I think most locations that do receive any measurable rain should stay between a ½ an inch to an inch or even less. 75 degrees right now. The winds are calm across the area. As you mentioned, it is very, very sticky out there with the recent rains, a lot of moisture on the ground. 82 degrees in Galveston. The breeze a little bit stronger stronger there. Winds out of the south-southeast at about 10 miles per hour. And we'll find that the winds today shouldn't be too strong. Occasionally you could see some winds gusting closer to 20 miles per hour. And of course, with any sort of thunderstorms that may be developing later on this morning, some of those winds could gust over 40 miles per hour. So let me show you the future track. Gives us a pretty much dry start to the morning for most, with the exception, as I showed you, with 13 alert radar. A couple of spotty showers here and there. But by noontime, look at the showers and thunderstorms that start to develop along the coastline. That's the boundary that's going to get pushed in our direction. Now, some of these showers and storms do quickly dissipate, but I will tell you that some of our models have been flip-flopping and showing a drier forecast between 2 to 4 p.m. or even a wetter forecast. So I'm going to go with the 60% chance for now, because the environment that we're under right now, the atmosphere is expected to recharge once again, and we may find a little bit more activity than what future track is showing. And then those showers and thunderstorms, as the sun goes down, will slowly start to fizzle out. As far as temperature readings, we've got a couple of spots in the upper 60s, lower 70s, mid to upper 70s looks to be more favorable for temperature readings at this hour. And then as we get into the afternoon, those afternoon highs are just going to depend on how extensive the clouds are going to be and whether or not you get the downpours. If you get the downpours later on today, you'll probably stay somewhere in the mid-80s, but if you don't get the downpours, those temperature readings will be a little bit closer to the upper 80s to low 90s. A look at those temperature readings overnight. Not much better than what we're seeing this morning, in the mid to upper 70s for the most part. Now, the storm chances right now look like they're going to be going down for the rest of the week. We've got you down to a 30% chance heading into the weekend, a 20% chance. So that's going to mean those temperatures are going to climb as we say goodbye to spring. We welcome summer officially on the 20th. So our first weekend of summer, it's going to feel like summer, right? With temperature readings in the mid 90s and looking at heat index values closer to hitting the century mark. Back to you guys.
All right, Brent
is breaking it down for us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sam and Brandon. And the key is for some, not for all, unlike what we saw yesterday. I mean, those showers and thunderstorms, they were widespread. That moved in during the afternoon and evening hours, and it rained for a good part of the afternoon and evening across southeast Texas. This morning, we got a nice lull in the activity. We're starting off with a mostly dry sky. The flood risk, again, for this afternoon, or for us today, is not going to be for all. We've got areas from Houston eastward, a little bit more favorable for some localized heavy rain and the potential for some street flooding. We have a boundary well up to the north, so really no focus mechanism for some heavy rain to move through the area or widespread flooding, but there will be those sea breeze showers and thunderstorms that slowly start to move inland. Right now we've got a cluster of thunderstorms well down to our south. That is not going to impact us. We do have a few light rain showers, maybe even isolated rumble of thunder just to the north of Colorado County around Columbus. Otherwise, just a few light rain showers that have pretty much fizzled out over the Piney Woods region. We've got a little bit of activity around Harris County, and then a couple of brief heavy downpours right now. Embedded with some of these downpours, a couple of thunder strikes right around LaGrange to the north and east there of LaGrange. Otherwise, when you take a look at future track, things should be fairly quiet to start off the day, and then as we get closer toward mid to late morning into the early part of the afternoon is when those showers and thunderstorms will start to develop. They'll start to spread inland. Here's more model data showing that we're going to see a little bit more coverage here. That's why I brought up the chances for rain today at 60%. So it looks like these could hold very similar to what we've seen already in recent days. And then as that continues to lift to the north, it will slowly start to fizzle out, but perhaps even some of our far northwest counties will get in on some of this activity before the sun goes down. As far as temperature readings, we're starting off most areas in the low to mid 70s. Closer to the coastline, you're in the low 80s this morning. And then those storm chances will start ramping up with some daytime heat. That's going to help fuel some of these thunderstorms to blossom. And then we're looking at that chance, as I mentioned, at 60%, and then slowly starting to drop as we get closer toward the evening hours. I'll have more details on the work week ahead. Also a look at our first weekend of summer coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Elita. Well, we don't want to talk about it. Is Elita?
This is true. This is true.
Let's just unpack this because
I don't know if we
I'm
should.
sorry I brought that up.
Don't.
It's a twofer. I mean, you go in.
Elita, we're talking about rain today.
You don't have to, flush the toilet anymore. You just, it's one of those things. I hear, like, I set my water, I like it lukewarm, right?
Oh, God.
So I turn it
Alita.
on, I let it, and then as soon as I hear it, I'm like, ooh, I gotta.
Alita.
And you run to the shower. I literally have too many questions. But I feel like, so you're
I'm guilty. Listen, I am guilty of that.
Okay, so I also don't want to be in a pool with you then. I'll leave it there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
No,
because
that's something different. Because, when you go in the shower, you're not,
okay.
You're fully,
Already.
Okay.
When you're,
So,
Rain in June, that's
I
what-
use the restroom. I was
Which
just
airport?
at a water
Rain
park over the
chances?
weekend, and I had to go, so I used the restroom.
rain chances?
Rain chances. Hey, let's talk about the fact that we are in the surplus with rain, right? So this is some great news. These two right here, they include me in the conversation, and then they don't want to talk. All right. So yesterday, Father's Day rain didn't break any records, but we did receive at IH at Bush Airport over 1.5 inches. I think this week we're not going to get quite as much rain as what we saw yesterday, but there is going to be a chance that somebody across southeast Texas could get 1, 2, even 3 inches just in today's rain chance, in today's storms alone. And then you can see that the storm probability will slowly start to lower as we get into the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. Thursday's rain chance, I'll be honest with you, based on some of the model data this morning, may need to go up, as it does look like there may be a frontal boundary coming into the state, and that might be the focus point of some additional coverage here. But just know that we'll leave it like that for now. As we get more analysis and more model data, we may be adjusting Thursday's rain chance. But for now, a 60% chance of some showers and thunderstorms, not for what's happening right now, but what may unfold later on this morning into the afternoon hours. A couple of brief heavy downpours already starting to fizzle out on the west side of town. Just seeing some light rain showers moving through the area. You can see just some light rains moving through the Baytown area, a few sprinkles around Crosby, around Mont Belvieu, along the northeast side of town. Saw a few spotty showers around Cold Spring and Livingston, but those have already fizzled out, and also on the northwest side of town. So the future track keeps us partly to mostly cloudy throughout the morning if it's not raining where you are. And then you can see those heavier downpours will be down along the coastline. So if you were planning on headed toward the coast today, be prepared. Showers and thunderstorms may interrupt some of those outdoor plans on the sand. And then you can see those showers and storms slowly start to spread inland. So those plans outdoors, those water parks today, spending some time at the community pool, especially between 2 to 4 p.m. Be ready to take shelter, to get cover, because those thunderstorms may bring not just some heavy rain, but the potential for some frequent cloud to ground lightning. And then as those showers and storms drift further up to the north, some of them may lose its intensity, and then you'll slowly start to see the coverage also starting to dissipate, especially as the sun goes down around 8, 9 o'clock or so. Flood risk for today. It's not for everybody, but several counties in our viewing area, especially along I-45 and to the east, have a better probability of seeing some street flooding for today. Mostly dry sky. We've got partly to mostly cloudy conditions. Not much of a breeze blowing. You saw that there with our College Station camera. Oh, glory, not really blowing much in that breeze. That breeze today, maybe 5 or 10 miles per hour, with the exception of some of those thunderstorms. Afternoon temperatures somewhere in the mid to upper 80s to low 90s. Quick look at the tropics. Things are still nice and quiet across the Atlantic basin. Large plume of dust coming off the coast of Africa last week will be pushing into the Gulf, and you can see a little bit of that haze may even play out to impact us later on this week. We'll be watching that for you and into part of the weekend before a lot of that concentration begins to lift and thin out. Meanwhile, in the eastern Pacific, it has been just so active. Delilah's starting to fizzle out, but notice what's starting to unfold here just on its heels. This could become Tropical Storm Eric sometime over the next 48 hours. So we'll be watching that, and for any sort of tropical development in the coming weeks, it's looking like it's favoring more areas along the eastern Pacific. Otherwise, as we welcome the new month, or rather the new season, I should say, summer coming in on Friday with just a 20% chance for some wet weather, with daytime highs starting to warm into the mid-90s. All right, time now 4:52. You're watching ABC 13.